Kristin Stahlman. Let's give her a hand. Woo!
I like how she said a little, like everyone doesn't know that I'm a lot crazy. Anybody else born and raised Oklahoma in here tonight? Got a few claps. Anybody else have like the stereotypical Oklahoma family like I do? Got one, yes. That's perfect. Like my family is, okay, I think Oklahomans are geniuses, guys. Even though we keep voting Mary Fallon into the governor seat. But beside that, we are geniuses, but we're geniuses in like really messed up ways. Like no logic goes into our genius thinking. And a perfect example is my Uncle Robert, who bought my aunt a car for her birthday and walked it home. And people say, what do you mean he walked it home? Well, he drove a mile away from the dealership, walked back to it, got his car, drove it a mile away in front, walked back. He did this for a week. It took him a week. They lived out in the country. Dealership was in town. 30 years later, I asked him, Uncle Robert, why didn't you just have someone drive your car home and you drive the new one? And he said, I didn't think about it. You walked a car home every day for a week to surprise your wife, and you never once thought to call Bob? Just asked him to drive yours? So it's like a genius way of doing it, but it's crazy as shit how he got to that point. But like my whole family does stuff like that. They're crazy but smart, and it's like, just like Oklahomans, right? No? Come on, guys, we are so crazy smart. I can't even, sorry. Anyway, other crazy family members, let's see. My great-grandmother died about 3 years ago. Aw, no, don't worry, she was 92, it was time to go. But I decided not to go to her funeral, and everyone got very upset with me. And the reason why is because I knew the redneck cousins were gonna come, and nobody knows what I mean by that. Redneck cousins are the people that come to the family funerals and get drunk and start a fight. No one else has had that happen. I'm here on stage tonight to tell you your families are way better than mine. Because at my great-grandmother's funeral, one of my cousins picked a fight with my grandfather. It's funny, guys, come on. Like, there's no worse time to pick a fight than at a funeral. And I wrote a letter to his mother and said, you're a horrible mom. And everyone was really mad at me about that. And I was like, I'm a big believer in you call a spade, but here's the thing. You have to call a cunt sometimes, even if she's family. That's how I got barred from Thanksgiving dinner. Turns out when your aunt drops the N-bomb, it's not appropriate to call her the C word in return. And I thought I was the one that was being nice there. So no family events for Kristin anymore. Instead, I travel abroad for Christmas and Thanksgiving. I'm very lucky. I have friends that live all over the world. My friends love me like family, and that's nice. That means they want to see me married to someone, anyone. Someone taller than me, preferably, not crazy. Job is a given, sort of. Part-time works, McDonald's okay. But because of that, I get set up on a lot of blind dates by my friends. Has anybody else gone on a blind date? Like 3 people. Before the internet, guys, you had to just chance it. So I go on a lot of blind dates. My friends don't always set me up for blind dates like they should. Like, one of my friends set me up with a guy, and I planned for us to go dancing, and he was in a wheelchair. She didn't tell me that. Second friend set me up and met the guy. I picked him up because he was visiting from out of town, and he got in my car, and he didn't have an arm. Tell your friends this shit, guys, because it makes the first date moment meeting really awkward. And he like stood, like later we were talking about it, he was like, so no one told you about this? And I was like, no. And he was like, why didn't they tell you this? Good question. And I think my friends love me, but then you have to kind of wonder about when they start setting you up with these people, what they're thinking. Best blind date that I ever went on, when I ended in a 5-year-long relationship. First time that we went out on a date, he said, I really, really like you. And I was like, awesome, I really like you too. You're taller than me, that's all I ask for in a man. Standard's pretty low, guys. I'm 31 and single. It's coming up soon. So he said, I really like you, but I think you need to know something. And anytime somebody says that on a first date, my mind is like, I'm from Oklahoma. Kids, some felony charges, drunk driving. Dead in the eye looks at me and says, I think you should know, if we're taking this further, I like to be peed on. I asked my friend later if they knew that this was a thing he liked. Yes, they did. Anyway, second date with him, and I knew that I had to be prepared. So I spent my day at work, and I spent a day drinking wine and water at work, and I didn't go to the bathroom because I think every girl, if she's really trying to impress a guy, and guys, he was like 6'6", and I'm 6'1", so this is a big deal here. He had a really good job, too. So, not McDonald's. So I ride a bus to his house because we're in a big city and I didn't have to drive. And I don't know if anybody's ever been on a bus with a full bladder, but it's kind of like Chinese water torture. Like you hit a bump and you feel every bump. And I text him and I just said, I'm about to pee my pants. And his response was 2 simple words, not yet. I have to run across a busy street in the middle of London, England, and try not to get hit to get to his house and not pee my pants the whole time I'm there. Only to get prepared for this big thing that I'm about to do. And I'm just gonna tell you, everyone, even if you don't have a shy bladder, it is really hard to pee when somebody is going directly on your vagina. Thank you, guys.